Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome back to the NOFO Live podcast, where I, Sunitha, along with my co-host Tracy, we hop on every Friday and talk about everything North Fork. Sorry, it is so cold, and my entire brain is focused on, is it the North Fork? Am I living in the Antarctica? As so many of you know, I happen to live right on the Sound, and for the last few days, the water, which really isn't water, and it isn't quite ice circles because the bay has ice circles on it, but the Sound is a giant slushy. I mean, it literally is full of snow, and it is the most interesting view to watch snow waves. And sometimes, like today, there's not even a wave, so it almost feels like you can walk on water or walk on ice or walk on snow, as the case may be, really far out. And it keeps reminding me. Good morning, Tracy. How are you?
Good.
And I keep thinking of the polar bears because they continue to
No, they don't.
Oh,
No,
of
they
course.
don't.
Every single day, the diehards that do go every single day have been going in, and they're posting pictures, and there are like shards of ice on the bay side, and they're cautioning against. Good morning, Nick. They're cautioning against being careful against the ice. But I'm just thinking today, the way the Sound looks, and I'm gonna see if my husband can take an aerial shot of the beach, the snow, and there's like light movement of water under. It's almost like creepy. It's like, what is this snow wave? Somebody remind me,
Very
where
cool.
do we live? Do we live in
You know what?
Antarctica?
I need to pull up a picture from several years ago, where there was this ice storm, windstorm, where all the ice got stuck out on
I have
Iron
pictures
Pier.
from that year. Yes, I have
Yes,
pictures
it
from
was
that
the
year.
coolest Antarctica picture ever. Yeah.
But I don't remember it being brutal cold that year. I mean, it was cold for that day or 2 days or
Correct.
whatever.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
this snow, and now they're talking about potentially another snow. I mean, I can see you have your
Yeah.
beanie on. That's
It's
really what
cold.
you need to wear inside.
It's cold. Yeah, yeah,
I'm bringing
yeah,
leg
yeah.
warmers back, by the way. Anyone who wants to hop on that trend, I've been wearing leg warmers for about 3 weeks now, and I wear them every day.
Oh
There
my
you go.
goodness. But just to wrap up on the polar bears, the fundraising plunge that they had scheduled for last Saturday, was for last Sunday, was moved to this Sunday. And they made the difficult decision to cancel it because there is another projected storm and it's just too chaotic. But I don't want to lose the fundraising in the middle of all this winter storm chaos, because the good that they are trying to do for two great organizations, CAST and Back to the Base program, I am pretty sure you can still continue to donate if you choose to do so, either through the plunge, but of course, always directly to both of these two organizations. So maybe warm some hearts up and, send some donations their way, because when the event is canceled, they usually don't end up,
Yeah,
fundraising as much as intended.
yeah, yeah.
So anyway, pivoting to today. Good morning, Nick. Even though I
Good
feel like
morning.
I keep calling you Nate in a half-hour conversation.
That's all good.
uh, Tell us a little bit about your background and how you found yourself on the North Fork.
Well, I grew up here. I grew up here. I went away to college in the city. I was there for about 9 years, and I went for literary studies at the New School, and worked a bunch of odd jobs after I graduated. My last one was at a bookstore called the Mysterious Bookshop, and I did all
Where
of the
is that?
shipping. It's down in Tribeca.
Okay.
They specialize in crime and mystery fiction. That's all they sell. And they've been in business since the 70s.
Wow.
So, so yeah, I worked there and was actually the shipping manager there. And that's kind of where I learned about the rare book trade. And when I moved from the city back here in 2020, decided I was going to try to like go out on my own and make this like a full-time thing. I was selling books on the street in Brooklyn while I worked there, and then when I moved back, I just started doing it online.
So it sounds like the book world and the literary world you've been involved in for a while, but what got you started? Like what drew you to that, or was it just something that you fell into?
Um, I mean, I started getting interested in books, and writing and like literature, philosophy stuff when I was in high school. So, um, yeah, it was kind of like a, you know, natural progression from there. Um, Honestly, my interest in books started with my interest in music. I've been in a bunch of different bands and involved in like kind of the punk scene. And I actually learned about a lot of classic literary stuff and classic philosophy from listening to punk music, which is kind of funny.
Oh, I love how you gave a tiny smirk smile as soon as you started talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could see that switch just go on, going, "Ooh, I love this part."
Yep, yep.
So it's both music and books that are in your store as well.
Yeah. So I sell books and records and artwork. There's like some stuff hanging on the wall in here as well. But yeah, I mean, it started with books, and when I started doing stuff online, I also started selling records. I have bought records since I was a teenager too, so it's all like all of my interests kind of just like, I could make a career out of this.
So let's
So,
let's back up. So you're in Southold on Main Road next
mhm.
to White Flower Farmhouse, right?
Yep, if you're looking at my store, White Flower Farmhouse is to the right and Pearl on Main is to the left.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I can't, I mean, I guess I feel like I have to bring this up because the location that you're in, for people that have been here a while,
hmm
used to be a gourmet food store.
hmm
And if you know GP, who has since passed away, it,
hmm
makes me feel some certain way about it. Um,
Yeah,
it was an interesting store and the space you're in, and I think he created quite a following and quite a
sure.
friendship. You couldn't walk. I don't know if you had a chance to interact with him while
Yeah.
he had that store.
Yeah, I did talk to him a few times, only briefly. It wasn't a place that I really shopped, but yeah, it was a nice guy.
He was
Definitely.
a storyteller for
Yep.
sure, and
hmm
even if you weren't, it wasn't necessarily that you needed to buy something, but
No.
he just poured his passion into everything he sold. And if you walked in, you never left without a recipe of what you could do with the ingredient that he sold. That wasn't a common ingredient that you would buy everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that a lot of people that walk into the space now thinking of him, and so you're sort of carrying some legacy there,
No,
in
that's
that
good.
location.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that I've had numerous people say, like, oh, he would have loved that this is what's in the space
Yeah.
now, and he was into books and music and stuff like that. There's been tons of people that are like, oh, this used to be the food store. Then they tell me a story about him. Um,
He
Interestingly,
definitely left an impact in the community for sure.
yeah, yeah. Interestingly enough, when the space was being cleared out, I found a drawing of him that somebody did, and I have it hanging behind the register now. So,
No, that's
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, he
hmm
was an artist in his own way. So the fact that you are carrying some art and stuff is great.
Yeah.
And also the first time I walked in there, you obviously redid the whole space, and so it's a whole
hmm
new vibe when you walk in. It's much cleaner. So do you also have like a design background, or you just started with a fresh palette? Tell me about the transformation of the physical space.
Yeah, I don't have a design background. To be honest, like the new paint you see on the ceiling and the new finish on the floor was all the landlord. As far as laying it out, that was all me. And I also had a lot of help physically getting things in here from my friends and family. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm also have, made art in some form my whole life. So I guess I'm informed by, again, like my personal interests, like my taste, I guess, and also my approach to creative things. So,
So let's talk about, how do you curate everything that's in the store?
um, as far as curation goes, again, it's definitely a mixture of what I know people want, like what I think people want, as well as my personal interests. There's like definitely some things that I want to have in the store that I don't necessarily sell a ton of. Like I have a lot of from my tenure at the Mysterious Bookshop, I have a lot of older mystery fiction from like the 50s and earlier. I have a whole photography section because of my interest in photography. I do a bit of film photography myself. And yeah, so yeah, as far as the curation goes, it's my interest, what I believe other people are looking for. And I try to keep everything on the older side, like things that are out of print or like just older editions of books. Like if I find a printing of a James Baldwin book from like last year, I might not put it in the store. If I find it from the 70s, I might put it in the store. Although James Baldwin in general is, I always have.
So you said, I have a question. You said things that people want. So tell us some examples of things that you carry in the store that you think people are looking for.
I have a lot of literary fiction. Um, I do have mystery, horror, sci-fi, a pretty big poetry section because I think that's important. I also write poetry, and I know a bunch of people that are always looking for decent poetry, and it's kind of unfortunately like
Hard to
hard to
find.
find. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Older stuff and newer stuff, honestly. Like I feel like when a bookstore has a really good poetry section, that becomes like a place that I revisit.
So is
Um,
everything you carry old, and what's the cutoff for old?
Or
not
vintage, or
necess
what is the term?
Yeah.
not necessarily. Not everything is old. But like I try to I try to have things that aren't like, at the newest end, like newer than the 80s.
Okay.
But like again, if there's books on subjects that are interesting or like just books by authors that I know I should have that I still, I think the materials are decent or whatever, I'll stock that.
I
Yeah.
So
mean, I
where
don't know
are you
how.
doing your curation from? So like, are you going to, estate sales? Are you going to special book conventions that we don't know about? How do you find these
Uh,
things?
I do a little bit of everything. There's really no one method, and honestly, I'm doing this in some capacity, like 24/7. But when I was just
As
selling
every
on,
business
Like
owner.
every small
yeah,
business
yeah,
owner.
yeah. So,
But that is important to bring up, right? Because
mhm,
people think it's a store and you're open whatever hours you're open, and then you put
mhm,
a lock and then you go home and then you're,
right.
drinking your espresso martini or whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's
it's
not the
funny
Yeah.
case.
because when you were talking about your creative side and that like
Mhm,
that's what really brought you to this, I actually like my heart for you because I'm as a business owner of now 21 years, I was like,
mhm.
and then you opened a business because that's like the least creative thing you can do. So it's really
Ah,
hard for creatives to have businesses sometimes because there's just so many things that come with owning a business, you know?
And that takes
yeah.
so much of your bandwidth where
Yeah.
so little is left, to give to your creative side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, for sure. Like a lot of non-creative, tedious, like,
Bookkeeping,
yeah, bookkeeping, God, tax season's coming up,
insurance.
just like
Yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah, stuff you don't even think about. You
Yeah.
just never think about before you have a business, I guess.
But on the flip
Um,
side, as you
yeah,
mentioned,
yeah.
so many of your different passions, like you talked about poetry, and I was thinking when I think of books, I guess me personally don't immediately think of that. I'm in a book club, we read books, but it sounds like your
Mhm,
store, which we never mentioned the name by the way, Folklore Press,
mhm.
is sort of a place where you can go and browse and see what sort of catches your fancy. Is that the type of shopping experience, or do people
Yeah.
walk in looking for something specific?
Yeah, I think that it's definitely like see what you can find most of the time because all the stuff I have, I don't have anything new unless I've gotten it by chance and it's just unread or brand new in the shrink wrap, whatever. I do have a lot of people come in looking for specific stuff, and there's a lot of people that come in looking for specific books that are out of print. Like, they know that's what I sell, so they're like, "Do you have X?" And I'm like, sometimes, I would say only once in a while do I have
What
exactly
they're
what
looking for.
someone's looking
Do
for,
you go, will you
but
go look for it for them or no?
um, I do take people's information down a lot, and if I find it, I'll give them a call.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, because you really don't know what you're going to run across. It's always, I don't know. I find things all the time and buy things from people personally. That's another big part of my how I stock the store is since I opened the doors here is people just come in and they're like, "Hey, do you buy whatever?" And I'm like, "Sure, let me take a look." But
You also never
yeah,
know as a
so
shopper. I will say this to people watching. As a shopper, I remember the very first large purchase I made after college, which was not planned. I walked into a bookstore in Murray Hill and I found
mhm.
a first edition of Gone with the Wind with an inscribed love letter on the front, on the inside cover. And
Oh,
it
that's
was
cool.
like an
Hmm.
astronomical amount of money to me at that time, but I
Hmm.
was like, I can't put this down. I have to have this. I have to have
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
my only rare book, but I'm like, I love it, and I love that I just was so inspired to get it at that time.
I think that's a big part of it too. These editions that I have are usually harder to find, or there might be something unique laid into the book. I've definitely had numerous, things. I had one on the table here. That's not a rare book, but it did have a whole letter, like gift inscription that was very detailed, lengthy. That somebody bought the book because they're like, well, it's the book and the letter.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of personal. There's still a lot of like personal affect to old stuff like that. I just bought a book recently on a trip I went on that is a rare collection of ghost stories that's lacking the original outer dust jacket, but somebody, and it's from the 30s, somebody made a dust jacket for it by like painting a piece of construction paper and like gluing a bunch of like clippings from a newspaper paper article about the author to it. And again, it was that old. Like it's somebody did that in the 30s, and I was like, well, this is one of a kind, I'll buy it.
Mm.
And
So.
totally worth preserving, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Let's talk a minute about records because I have,
Yeah.
I won't say young kids, but they're young men, and they,
Mhm.
two of them have a record player, and
I do
somehow I
too.
guess records are making, I don't want to say comeback because they never really went anywhere,
Mhm.
but it seems to be a new audience interested in the records also.
Yeah, I would say vinyl records are, there's been people collecting them forever, but now the popular appeal is big for sure.
Yes.
I mean, there's a
Yes.
lot of like, I pretty much just have used stuff and mostly original pressings and stuff like that. But like, for instance, like you can go buy like a brand new copy of like, I don't know, let's say, I have like a Rod Stewart record here that you could find like all over the place for fairly cheap, but there's record companies repressing it now, and like you can buy it at Target. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
so I
Yeah.
think that there's a major interest in vinyl again.
100%.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm one of those people. Every year for
Mhm.
Christmas, I get one album from my family that I
There
ask
you
for, and I have like Adele, and I have Chris
go. Hmm.
Stapleton, and
That's
you know,
another thing. Yeah, like pop artists, like
Even Adele has a vinyl. I mean, like
yeah,
to me,
right.
oh yeah, I have
Yep.
multiple of hers. Yeah,
interesting,
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
Like I just think of it as
yeah.
like there's the Beatles ones, and there's whatever
There's
the older ones.
something really it's kind of like sitting and drinking your coffee in the sunshine when you sit and listen to an album versus like telling Alexa to put it on. You know what I mean? Like the ceremony of opening your record player and putting it on, and just you tend to actually just sit and listen when you do that. It's
Hmm.
more of a ceremonial type of listening to music.
That's true. Yeah, I would agree for sure. I mean, it's like you're really being intentional about it.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's a great word for it.
Let's talk a little bit about the art because you said you have books,
Mhm.
you have things. So, is it all art that you create? Is it artists
Oh,
that you?
yeah, it's I don't have anything that I've done in here. Yeah, it's mostly things that I have come across or have bought from people specifically for the store. It's kind of a mixture for sure, but it's definitely, yeah, just kind of a mix of things that I curate. I mean, I have photography, I have like some collage in here. There's a lot of paintings, um, mostly by unknown artists or lesser known people. Although I do have a couple of Sawyer prints on the wall right now, and he and his brother are listed like I think in the Met, the MoMA,
Oh,
something
wow.
like that. But they're just lithographs, so it's a mix of things for sure. Like I have this big painting behind me was done by somebody in Mattatuck who unfortunately has passed, but owned Peconic cesspools for however many years, but was also a trained painter, went to SVA and did like
Wow.
these insane, like religious inspired paintings like that. It's really like a crazy piece of work, but yeah. I definitely like try to focus on, lesser known stuff in that respect, art wise. Kind of just,
So I
whatever
have
I
a
think fits the
question.
aesthetic of the store too. Hmm.
If someone is, let's say, cleaning out their grandmother's house and they
Hmm.
come across a bunch of books and a bunch of albums, are you a place that they would call and say, "Hey, do you want to come take a look at what I've got?"
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a big part of my business. Although I will say right now, don't call me, text or email because the service in the store is non-existent.
All
Yeah,
right,
I mean,
I've
Southold.
had like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's in
yeah,
Southold
he's in
town and
Southold,
like,
exactly. As soon as you say
right,
Southold, that's understood by everybody,
Yeah.
yeah,
which is really such a challenge. And I think it needs to be
hmm,
brought up until a solution can be found. It is such a challenge for store owners because it's
yeah,
an issue putting credit cards through. I mean, there literally is
Oh,
no
yeah.
network. You can't call and ask questions. Are you open? Do you have this? It really does impact business. As
yeah,
much as nobody wants a tower in their backyard, it
right,
does change how business operates in this town.
totally. I mean, if I didn't have the Wi-Fi, there would be nothing. So
Yeah.
there's two places I can stand in the store. You know how when you log in on like something online and they send you like a confirmation text so you can keep
Yeah.
logging in. I can stand in two places in the store to receive the confirmation text. I've realized like this one little square of floor over here I can stand in, or like one other area in the back of the store, and I can get the text message so I can log into like Shopify, which I use for most of my, my point of sale, my online sales, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
it's
so you have the
crazy.
physical store. I'm glad you mentioned the online store. So people who are not local or when it's way too much snow, I can't even get out of my driveway kind of deal can go browse the website. So tell
Yep.
us the name of your website and what do you have listed on there?
So the name of the website's the name of the store is forkedroadpress.myshopify.com, which can be accessed from my Instagram. There's like a link in my bio with it's a link tree type of thing, and you can go to it and see Shopify, eBay, Discogs, which is where I sell a lot of records that aren't in the store. And yeah, wait, what was the rest of that?
So what do
So,
you
oh,
have
so what do
on,
I
what do you
have
sell
on the what
online?
do I have on the website, right?
Yeah.
Mostly at this point, it's mostly more valuable things. I try to make sure that all the rare and collectible stuff is listed online for maximum visibility. At this time of year, I'm posting like a mix of things. There's a lot of cheaper stuff as well, more affordable stuff, and things that aren't necessarily collectible, but I think that people will want. Before I opened the store, I was only selling books on Instagram. So
Uh-huh.
I was posting like 6 to 8 posts a day and all types of stuff, all types of price points. But now it's mostly collectible stuff. I have some records listed online, but yeah. I mean, it's just me, so the process of getting everything listed online is a little bit daunting sometimes.
The
But
whole
That's
job
okay.
in itself.
That's
mhm.
okay. People
Yeah,
in Southold are used to seeing little paper signs on the door saying, be back in 12 minutes, gone to get lunch. So
yeah,
don't
Yeah.
worry about physically
yeah.
being at the store at all times. Speaking of which, what are your hours? And you open in 25, correct? Like, are you open all year? What's your plan?
Yeah. I'm open. I'll be open all year. I'm here all year. Right now in the winter, it's Thursday through Sunday, 11 to 5. The store is closed Monday through Wednesday, but as we've kind of been talking about, like I'm still working somewhere. I may even be here, doing stuff in the back. But yeah, it's Thursday through Sunday right now, 11 to 5. When it gets warmer out, I may
Which is
open
when? Do you have any insight on that? Because
I don't know. Yeah. I probably like the spring I'll be open on Mondays again. I was open Thursday through Monday when I opened in August, this past August. So
Yeah. All right, so let's kick off our NoFo Live 5. If you were
oh yeah.
going to take, because you're a local, right? You grew up here. So if you were going to take Sunita and I out for a meal, your choice, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, where would you take us?
I'm just thinking of dinner places. I would probably, there's like a few. Probably Founders Tavern in Southold. Um, I go to Bricks and Rye a lot in Greenport, get a pizza from
Yeah.
1943, which is upstairs. I have my good friends actually own and run that place. And Hellenic when it's open,
Yes.
definitely always a treat. Yep, yep.
All good
Good
choices.
for the
Hmm.
kiddos to run around while you're eating.
Yeah, that's true
All
too,
good
I guess. Yeah,
choices. All
yeah.
good choices. It reminds me, I
Yeah.
haven't been to Founders Tavern in a while, and they have
Founders
good
is
comfort
like
food.
They have a
Good comfort
great
old
food.
age.
burger.
I'm just thinking, why have I
Yeah,
not made the route there? It's like,
Yeah.
I
yeah,
think you're
yeah.
gonna fix that. I'm gonna end up there at some point this weekend, maybe.
There you go. There you go.
And that reminds me, we always talk about Bricks and Rye, Tracy, but we have not had 1943 pizza on the show either. So
We
I
Oh,
think
haven't. I
we're gonna reach
know.
out. We're gonna
Yeah.
reach out to them and
there
have
you
them
go.
because we talk about their pizza all the time,
It's so
Yep,
but
good.
yep.
we haven't featured them directly. Okay, brewery, cocktail, mocktail, vineyard. Where would we find you, and what might you be enjoying?
A cocktail again, probably Bricks and Rye. I get an old fashioned there all the time. They always do it right. If I'm not drinking a cocktail, it's probably a Guinness.
Mhm.
Yep, yep.
Used to love
So,
those. Yep.
yep.
Good choices. Good choice. Okay, sunrise or sunset? Are you an early morning person? What do you catch locally?
I'm definitely not an early morning person. Yeah, yeah. In fact, I had to drink like 3 cups of coffee to be with you today. But
That's okay. I'm on my second, so it's all good.
I mean, I think that growing up, I used to go to McCabe's a lot, McCabe's Beach on the Sound Side for the sunset, or like Goldsmiths. There was we when I was a kid, we used to go to Goldsmiths on the day before school started to like do the sunset
Take it
and
off.
have dinner or whatever. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like a good tradition.
It
That's one
Yeah.
does.
beach I haven't been to in a while. I really like the inlet, and the thing about the inlet, I guess, because it creates a divider with the water, it always looks like you could cross it easily, but
Hmm.
I don't know if you actually can. One of these days, I need to try it.
Oh yeah, well, I did it a bunch of times as a kid, but yeah, every time now I'm like, nah, I don't want to get my shoes wet.
Well, it's shoes, ankle, knees. Sometimes
Yeah.
it can be pretty deep. So.
Yep, yep.
What about farm stands? Where do you like to go and what do you like to get there?
I would say Wisnowski's on Route 48,
My
in
absolute
Peconic.
favorite. I mean, just
Yeah.
lovely people, lovely people.
Yeah, exactly. Great people. It's like one of the most affordable games in town. Um, yeah, yeah. As far as what I would specifically get there, I'm not sure, but they have a variety of things. They're always fresh. They're always affordable. And if you're on the main road, you could stop by Country View. They always have something good too. Hmm.
And
Yeah.
the
Hmm.
thing about Vesnowski's is, again, they're one of those places that only sell what they grow. So
Yep.
it sort of changes all the time, whatever they've harvested in that month or that season or whatever.
Hmm.
So it's whatever they have. Like you can't walk in there looking for avocados. They don't have it, you know?
Totally.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
whatever they're growing. And they grow flowers too. So,
Hmm.
and I
Hmm.
do agree. They are one of the most affordable places around. And like I said, the most loveliest, hardworking people. So.
Oh, totally. Yeah, yeah. Very down to earth. One of them was fixing my car for a while too. So,
A couple of
yep,
years
yep.
ago, their farm stand disappeared. And I can't tell you, Tracy, every time I drove by, I was like, oh my God, they're not going to be there. But thank God they built a bigger barn shelter. They had taken it
Yeah.
down to build it. And I was like, "Shh, thank God they're coming back, kind of. Because it is a
Hmm.
little scary to think of all of these farmers, especially that are not really making money with all the work, with compensated to the work they put in, and we are so sort of dependent and also enjoy them. So it's important to keep supporting them so they can continue to stay here.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah, I
Yes.
agree. I agree.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so speaking of coming back, you left and then you came back and you started a business. So tell us why you love being part of the North Fork community.
Well, it's where I'm from. I definitely want to keep it interesting. I mean, as far as, opening a bookstore goes, when I was younger, I used to go around to all the old bookstores that, there used to be the Book Scout in Greenport, and on the main road going to Greenport, there's the North Fork Trading Post, which had books in the back as well. And those were actually put there by a guy from Southold. Like his friend had the trading post, and then he had space in the back for books. So I just, definitely missed like having a used bookstore. Burton's is great if you're looking for something new, and I always tell people if they come here and they're looking for like a new release or something that was published in the last 10 years, like go check out Burton's. Scott's great, has great stock as well, but he doesn't have any used books, and I only have used books. So yeah, I mean, I think that I definitely want to be part of the community and give that sort of thing back to people that are looking for it. Um, yeah. So I mean, I like being here. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, I couldn't wait to leave because there was nothing to do,
Yeah.
But as you get
Oh,
older,
how things have changed.
yeah, exactly. And even if it wasn't busier, as you get older, you grow to appreciate like a place like this to be or come back to
Yes.
or
Yeah.
whatever, And yeah, it's everybody's great. It's good to be a part of the community again, for sure.
Well, part of the North Fork life, which as a child, none of us would have appreciated, is the slowing down and
Yeah.
savoring the littler things. And so your space that you've created sounds like the perfect opportunity to stop across the street at now what is Stone Street Cafe and grab a cup of
Mhm.
coffee and just browse through, or I would even say at Latin Fusion, she makes the most amazing cold coffees,
Oh
and
yeah,
just wander for an hour and look, and you never know what you might see. And take home something that becomes meaningful, like the Gone with the Wind book that you're still cherishing to this day, Tracy.
Mhm.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, I have a couple chairs here. You don't need to like rush in and out if you want to hang out. You know,
That sounds like
definitely a
that
good
sounds
place to slow down for sure.
that
Hmm.
sounds like a good way to spend a cold winter's day.
Yeah. Although I will say right now the store is pretty cold, so
Yeah.
Well,
As
bundle up if
as
you're going
is
to come hang
everywhere.
out. I almost kept my coat on for this interview, honestly. So.
well, Sundays, I mean, it looks like the weekend is going to be cold again. I do want to mention another event that's happening Sunday at the Greenport Brewery, the annual chili cook-off,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
hope will be very warm because one, the chilies will have fire, and two, so many people. So let's hope the weather cooperates enough for everybody to, want to go there and try out. I think there's several restaurants that we featured on the show. Chef Finn from Silver Sands is going to be there, Ellen's. I think Chef Cheo is making chili. There's a whole long list. I
Nice.
don't want to leave anybody out, but we shared the flyer, so check it out. And of course, all the local fire departments will be competing in their own version of who has the best chili. So maybe we'll see some of you on Sunday. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.
Stay
Cool. Hey,
warm.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take it
Bye.
easy.